Hello, good day, everyone. So for this session, we're going to discuss one of the first topics in the data structures and algorithms, and that is the overview of the data structures and abstract data types. So this should be your preliminary requirement before we immerse ourselves with some of the basic syntax, especially in using the Java programming language, implementing the data structures, as well as the ADT or the abstract data types. So now this will be your expected learning outcomes at the end of this session. First is to discuss the basic terms of the data structures and abstract data types, or we call it ADTs. Discover what an algorithm is and explore problem-solving techniques. Explore how classes are implemented and learn about the abstract data types and how they are implemented. And the objectives of this lesson is to discover what an algorithm is and explore problem solving techniques, explore how classes are implemented, and learn about the abstract data types and how they are implemented. So we have this first activity, but suppose this is actually a face-to-face activity, so we'll just skip on this, but this will be part of your uh, task no, in LMS. So kindly check your LMS after watching this recorded class and then answer this particular activity individually, not by group. Then after that, you can answer this question from your design algorithm. Answer the following: why do we need to design an algorithm? And if one of the steps is not included in the algorithm, what would happen in the process? And how can you relate algorithm designs in solving real world problems? Now, as a definition, data structure is an arrangement of data in a computer's memory or sometimes on a disk. And data structures include linked lists, stacks, binary trees, and hash tables, among others. So, think of data structure as something na ito yung nakastore no, in our computer. And then, this is how we sequence no, the storing of data. So, for example, if mag-save ka ngayon ng mga images or text in a particular storage, of course, you will know na ito yung na-save. Ang tanong niyan, paano siya na-save? What is the structure? Or in other na example, think of this as like para siyang cabinet, no? Paano ba kayo mag-store ng mga files? Is it diretso-diretso ba? Kung paslak lang ba dayo na yung mga files or you need to save it alphabetically ba? May mga numbering ba? May mga bookmarking ba nangyayari? And the way you retrieve it, paano ba siya nire-retrieve? So yeah, that's the logic no, of a data structure. So this is related na ngayon in storing our data. And this will include ito yung mga samples niya. Linked list, stacks, binary trees, and so on. So we will discuss all of these topics soon no, as our lesson progress. Okay. So these are the different data structures. These are the types that we've been doing so far. So in your earlier computer programming language, I think you already have tried this primitive data structure. So say primitive, yun yung typical, traditional, or native na ginagawa natin. And we do store our files or we do store our data via integer, right? If numbers yan integer or real, may mga negative or mga fractions, or character for text, strings, and for boolean, is it true or false? We use the boolean. So yun typical in our Java programming language. But in the non-primitive data structures, ito ngayon yung higher level of storing our data. So the non-primitive data structure is composed of two types of data structure. And we have the linear data structure and the non-linear data structure. So included in the linear data structure is the array, the linked list, the stack, and queue. So itong apat. So we'll also discuss all of these four kasi these are the foundation of the linear data structure. So kailangan alam natin itong apat. And I know na you had been introduced already with arrays. So itong tatlo na lang yung I think bago sa inyo. Then for the non-linear data structure, ito yung complex version of data structure, and we have the trees and graphs. So we will also discuss that one soon no, in the last or mga middle weeks in our course. Kaya natanong, what is an algorithm? So I know you had been hearing some things, no, yung mga words na algorithm. So minsan iba sila natatakot kasi ano ba yung algorithm? Napakahirap ba intindihin yan? But actually, an algorithm is just like as a recipe. It's a list of detailed instructions for carrying out an activity. So hence, an algorithm is just a process. So, para siyang instruction. So algorithms manipulate the data in these structures in various ways, such as inserting a new data item. Ano yung algorithm niya or ano yung process? Pag mag-insert ka ng data item, ano ba yung unang gawin mo? It's like that, no? Or searching for a particular item or sorting the items. Yun yung mga step-by-step process. Kaya nga, in your earlier stage sa programming, tinuturuan kayo ng flowchart, right? Yung mga magamit kayo ng start, kayo ng process, inputs, until ma-reach yung end na flow, no? Kasi that's part of the algorithm. Yung step by step, hindi yan magic na you insert something, diretso na siya agad na ma-insert. So, meron siyang mga proseso na ginagawa. So, even in your program, you create a Java program, kung mag-insert kayo ng data item, ano ba yung ginagawa niya? Diretso lang ba insert or maggawa ka pa ba ng variable? Tapos you insert that value in your variable, mag-declare ka pa ba ng mga predefined functions like mga scanner or input scanner or gagawa gamit ka ba ng GUI? So those are parts of the algorithms. So example ito, no? 7 input. So dito sa tindahan mo, these are like decision. So this is where we put the set of rules to obtain the expected output from the given input. So then ilalagay yung algorithm. So kung sa basic flowchart natin is this is just yes or no, this time dito na natin specify the decisions. And thus it includes the set of rules. And then after that, we provided with the output after following those process. So these are the different data structures and its advantages. So we can also see ano yung mga strengths and weaknesses niya. Okay, so first is the array. So of course, we all know that the advantage is the quick insertion kasi the moment that you just declare an array, tapos lagyan mo ng value, insert agad. Madali na makita natin yung mga index, di ba? If you remember, yung array will start with a 0 index, and the length or the last value of the index or the last value of the index of the array is the length minus 1. So for example, may length ka ng 5. So since mag-start siya ng 0, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, yung last na value ng array. So the problem with this one is yung slow search niya, slow deletion of fixed size. So, di ba fixed size lang, so once mag-declare ka ng length of 5 or length of 50, meaning you cannot put values more than 50. And then in terms of slow searching rin, slow rin siya kasi what if marami yung array mo, example of itong 1,000, so you want to look for specific value, so kailangan daan mo pa lahat ng loop niya na mechanism for the array. So what if may 100,000 ka na dito, so hanapin mo yung specific na value nasa gitna siya ng arrays mo. So matagal siya. Kasi yung loop mo is marami rin. That's the problem. Same with deletion. Same pinning logic. Another one is the ordered array. So itong kagandahan ng ordered array is it's already been fixed. Naka-order na siya ascending or descending. So this has quicker search than a sorted array. Now the drawback only is same pa rin, slow insertion kasi isa-isahin mo pa rin yung array. And next is the stack. So itong stack, we'll discuss this soon. But this is the advantage of it. It's like provides last in, first out access. So, ibig sabihin, just imagine a stack is parang yung nag-stack ka ng pile or nag-stack ka ng mga boxes sa sako. So, kung sino yung huli mo na nilagay sa sako, yun yung unang lalabas. So, that's the last in, first out. So, problema lang yan is slow access to other items. Ibig sabihin, kung sino yung una mo na nilagay sa sako, hindi mo pa siya pwedeng makuha. Hihintay mo muna na ma-remove lahat ng sa yung naunang stock mo ng mga items. Yung opposite naman is the queue. So this provides first in and first out access. So think of this, yung queuing natin sa pupunta ka sa canteen or Sa karinderya, kung sino yung nauna naglinya, siya yung unang aalis. Kung sino yung nasa hulihan, siya rin yung huling aalis. So that's the flow of this. This is the algorithm of queue. The disadvantage of this one is slow access to other items. Kasi what if nasa hulihan ka? So it means that kailangan mo pang matapos yung sequence before mo ma-access yung panghuli. So another one is itong linked list. So soon you will understand this. So quick insertion, quick deletion, same pa rin, slow search pa rin ito. Then we have the binary tree, quick search, insertion, deletion. If tree remains balanced, kasi yung binary tree may pina-follow tayo na parang node. Okay? So that's why yung disadvantage niya is the deletion algorithm is complex. Kasi para siya parang imagine the binary tree is para siya yung pyramid scheme. Okay? Then we also have the red black tree. So same pa rin siya na sa binary tree. And the disadvantage is complex. So soon, mga middle weeks natin, we will learn itong mga binary tree. So medyo exciting yung tracing natin to kasi every now and then, yung gagawin natin sa data structures, we do code tracing. Kasi may output na, may code na. The only problem is how do we trace? Bakit ganyan yung output niya? Okay? Then we had that 2343, same pa rin yan. But this is good for this storage. We also have the hash table. Ginagamit ito for mag-encrypt ng mga values, especially for passwords. So, slow deletion siya, of course. No? Then, inefficient memory storage. So, usage kasi kailangan mo pang i-convert into another na naman na data column. Then, we also have the heap. So, para itong binary tree. And slow also access to other items. So, ito ngayon yung mga visualization. Kasi, ang problema sa data structures, meron tayong mga visual diagrams. Pero in an actual, pag gagawin mo siya in the Java programming, iba na siya. It's just a basic code lang. So, itong nakikita natin, these are just the representation. But we cannot make this one in actual coding. Naka-numbers pa rin yan or naka-text lang sa code. So that's the challenge of data structures. Kasi we have the diagram, but we cannot do that one. Or we cannot display that the same diagram when we code that one in a program, in programming language. Sunod-sunod lang siya pa rin yung number. Okay? So yan yung medyo complex or challenge sa ating subject nito. Kasi we know the representation, but the display is different. So we have the sorting, linked list, we have the list, spanning tree, tree graph, stack, and hashing. So ito yung mga different pictures niya. So again, an algorithm can be thought of as the detailed instructions for carrying out some operation. Kaya tinanong ko nyo yung sa initial activity natin, tatanungin kayo, what is the algorithm, the enrollment for first year here in the NSC? So example, tatanungin kayo, so ano yung unang gawin ba? Okay, kung magpa-enroll ka, example, nandoon ka na sa school. So kailangan pumunta ka muna ba step 1? Saan ka pupunta? Magbigay ka ba ng medical records? Step 2, saan ka next pupunta? Punta ka ba sa register? Those are examples of algorithm. Those are the instructions. Okay? So in a computer program, these instructions take the form of program statements. So kung sa ating Java programming, yung goal ninyo is you keep on just creating some freestyle code to have a desired output dito is kailangan clear yung ating instruction. So we are going to improve para magiging QA tayo. So many of the algorithms we will discuss apply directly to specific data structures. So for most data structures, you must know how to do the following. So ito yung mandatory natin whenever we use algorithms. First is marunong tayo mag-insert ng data item. We know how to search and we know how to delete. So yung tatlo kailangan natin. So you might also need to know how to traverse through all the items and data structures, sorting them and apply recursions in designing certain algorithms. So kung sa ating previous subject na ito yung mga kadalasang ginagawa natin na task, yung paano mag-insert ng data, mag-search, mag-delete. Ngayon, these are the mandatory. Ito yung template or the initial. Kung yung initial na ginagawa nyo before is gawa ka ng hello world, Dito ito yung initial natin when we use the algorithm. Marunong tayo dito tatlo. Insert, search, and delete. And including itong traverse. Mahirap yung traverse kasi depende ito sa type of algorithm. Okay. So another mga figures or representation or diagram with the different types of algorithm that's been available today in our cyber world. So first we have the search engine algorithm. So you will wonder ano yung proseso nila na whenever you search for some keywords, lalabas yung mga results. So we also have the encryption algorithm, paano nagiging secure yung mga password natin na hindi siya malaman kahit ng mga programmer. So we also have the greedy algorithm, ito yung parang sa pyramiding scheme. Recursive algorithm, ito yung symbol niya, yung pabalik-balik na tatawagin mo yung function. So usually ginagamit ng recursive, example yung mga Fibonacci series, or yung mga square root, or mga square of a number, ganyan. Then we also have the backtracking algorithm. So yung ginagamit yung mga Sudoku. So you will wonder paano ginagawa yung Sudoku sa computer. Then we have also the divide and conquer algorithm. This is more on sorting algorithms. Paano mag-sort ka ng mga large dataset. Then we also have the dynamic programming algorithm. So ginagamit ito yung mga maps. Paano makikita mo yung distance or the best distance on a map. So you also have the brute force algorithm, sorting algorithm na basic, hashing algorithm, and the randomized algorithm. So hindi naman lahat ito na pag-uusapan natin. No? It's just an application. But baka meron dito, one of it, yung mga basic like sorting or hashing, included yan. Ngayon, these are the 8 primitive data types that we need to remember other than the one that I have shown in the previous slides. So ito yung boolean, int, char or character or char. Char yan ha pagbasa. Long, the byte, the double, short, and float. So dapat alam natin yung 8. Primitive or native data types, mga taong tabon, no? Mga homo sapiens, pero hindi ibig sabihin na yan yung meaning niya, no? It's just a matter of knowing, no, ito yung mga original na na 8 data types to store some data. Okay, let's talk about the abstract data type. So this is a type or class for object whose behavior is defined by a set of value and a set of operations. So it does not specify how data will be organized in memory and what algorithms will be used for implementing operations. So it is called abstract because it gives an implementation independent view. So ang nangyari ngayon dito, because of some complications, no, kasi mahirap yung talaga yung data structure. Yung mga programmers ginawa nila, gumawa sila tinatawag na abstract data type. These are like classes na converted into object, tapos meron na silang mga predefined function to work, no. But for example, di ba yung arrays, ang problema ng arrays is limit lang yung length niya. For example, mag-set ka ng 100 na length. So, ibig sabihin, you cannot use the 101 or 101st na value. Ngayon, ginawa itong abstract data type na para siyang in-enhance yung mga existing data type para yung array is pwede siya ma-accept ng unlimited data, and that is the creation of the array list. Okay, so dito na ma-include ngayon yung mga array list, mga linked list, and so on. So even itong stack and queue, nung ginawa nito ng abstract data type. So soon ito yung mga bagay na i-handle natin with abstract data type. Okay? Para malaman, madali lang yung gusto natin na process. Kasi di ba, can you imagine if array lang, so paano yan kung meron ka mga dynamic na program, ibig sabihin na yung hindi mo alam kung gaano kadami yung mga data, dynamic siya. So ginawa ito abstract data type. So I can take note of this, a data type, these are class. Di-instantiate siya as an object, tapos tinatawag mo yung mga function niya, utilizing yung mga typical pa rin na mga primitive data types. Okay, so ito yung mga different examples. So you have the list EDT or the abstract data type, we have the stock, the queue, we also have the objects in a nutshell and the classes. Ito yung mga i-discuss natin. Okay, first is itong list ADT versus the queue ADT or abstract data types. So, ano yung kaibahan nito? So, meron na siyang mga predefined function. So, kung mahirapan tayong mag-insert sa array, ginawa itong abstract data type para tawagin na lang natin yung subfunction of that particular ADT para mag-work siya automatic. So, for example, yung list ADT, tatawagin mo lang yung get. For example, meron kang in-instantiate mo ngayon yung list ADT with the name mylist. So kung gusto mo kunin yung file, yung value niya, you can just type mylist.get and specify the index and it will return you automatically with a value. Kung gusto mo na mag-add ng value, you just use the word insert and then you're done. And if you want to remove, you can use remove. So, ganyan lang siya. No? Mas madali siya kaysa yung typical na array. Diba, mahirap yun kasi gagawa ka pa ng mga functions. So we have also the stack ADT, so we have to push. So medyo unique yung style ng stack kasi gagamit ka ng push to insert data, pop to remove, and if you want to get the value of a particular element, then use the word pip. Okay? Same with queue. You want to insert a value, you're gonna use in queue. So mag-remove the queue and then you want to look for the value, then you're gonna use pick. So babalikan natin itong tatlo. No? Is a specific or separate na lesson. Kasi mahirap ito. Now, a list, the EDT, contains elements of the same type. Take note that the same type pa rin siya, hindi siya pwede mix. Arrange in sequential order and following operations that can be performed on a list. So a list EDT is a collection of elements that have a linear relationship with each other. Which means it's either the values are in the same data types and they're connected. So a linear relationship means that each element of the list has a unique successor. Okay? So take note that the list ADT is an interface. If you still remember yung object-oriented programming na principle natin, meron tayong polymorphism, meron tayong mga inheritance, meron tayong ano pa yun, encapsulation, so include na yung interface dito. And that is other classes give the actual implementation of the data type. Ibig sabihin, if the moment you call the list ADT as an interface, then you are going to inherit lahat yung mga methods niya as a required. So, pwede mo siyang papalitan mo lang yung value. Unlike with typical na inheritance na pati yung mga properties, yung mga variables mo kuha mo. So, interface, yung mga functions lang magagamit mo. So abstract data structure internally implements the array list class while the list data structure internally implements the linked list class. So soon you will understand yung kaibahan nitong array list at the linked list. But again, these two are considered as abstract data types. So yan, so ito yung sample niya na diagram. So sa linked list kasi, pag mag-store tayo ng data, this is how we will trace it. Example, meron siyang yung first na value mo, parang chain kasi yung linked list. So if you have 2, that's the head. So if you are going to access the next value, you can say that next, and that's 23, that next is A, that next DD. So take note, these are just memory. Hindi ito values. Okay, these are just memory address. And the last value will be the tail. And then the next, last value will be null. So ibig sabihin para siyang chain. May reserve siya palagi. Kasi again, our goal for this one is to make sure na dynamic yung pag-insert ng value. Hindi siya yung may length. Same way with the array list. Okay? Ito siya para siya naka-stack. So, naka-index based. So, ang challenge itong linked list is that when you, example, if you are in the cursor, nandito ka sa 2, if you want to access A, so kailangan mo siya i-type yung list that next. So, ganyan yung parang equivalent niya. So, soon you will understand that. So, another naman is itong stack ADT. So, a stack contains elements of the same type arranged in sequential order. So, all operations take place at a single end that is top of the stack. And take note na ang stack is using this process LIFO or the last in, first out. Kung sino yung last na na-add, siya yung una na lalabas. Okay? That contains similar elements arranged in an ordered sequence. So this is the example representation. So when you code this in Java, hindi nyo makikita ito. But the way you try to retrieve data, you will justify it by drawing the visualization. So example, ito yung empty stack niya. So kung mag-push ka ng 1, you're gonna use stack.push. So ma-add yung 1. So mag-push ka na naman ulit ng value. So ma-add si 2. So meaning si 1 is ilalim na. Hindi siya yung array na left to right lang. Next push ka naman ng 3. Siya yung madadagdag. And if you want to pop, if you want to remove an element, so mauna ma-remove si number 3. So sir, kung gusto ko i-pop si 1, ano mayari? Di ma-remove si 3, 2, 1. So tatlo yung masa-sacrifice. Kasi yan yung logic ng stack. Okay? So another one is the queue. So a queue contains elements of the same type, arranged in sequential order, and the operations take place at both ends. Insertion is done and the deletion is done at the front. So yung follow na naman niya, kung yung stack is LIFO, itong queue naman is FIFO, or the first in, first out. It contains similar types of elements arranged sequentially. So ito yung representation niya. Yan. So nauna si 3. Tapos kung example mag-remove ka ng value, unang ma-remove si 2 kasi siya yung sa front. Then add ka naman ng in queue, add mo si 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then pag mag-add ka ng bago, you're gonna in queue, add mo si 9. So yung last na tail natin before the 9 is si 8. And the front is 3. So for example, gagamit ka ng word of front, automatic i-return na yung pinaka first na value. So soon, no, makikita natin, magawa tayo ng mga sample na mga demonstration on this para makita natin yung difference. The next is the objects in a nutshell. So an object contains both functions and variables. So example, itong thermostat na object. So ang nangyari nito, gumagawa ka ng custom na class na meron siya mga different function, tapos you are going to let it be used by different na mga classes. Parang ginagawa mo siya standard na uh, na data type. So example, think of it as yung example, yung experience ko before sa programming, gumawa kami ng games. Hindi isang tao rin gagawa ng games. So iba-iba yan na-assign sa inyo na department. For example, kami na-assign kami sa movement. So gumagawa kami ng mga object, data types for creating the movements. For example, gawin kami ng class na move. So yung class na move, meron siyang function na move up, move down, move left, and move right. And ang change na ngayon nung apat na functions na yon is yung property or variable na direction. So iba rin yung naka-assign sa items, iba rin yung naka-assign sa appearance. So marami yan. That's why tinatawag ito na object in a nutshell, kasi all of those classes that we created will be combined into one. Okay? So itong thermostat na object, assuming ginagawa ito ng parang digital way. So meron siyang furnace on and furnace off function, but also current temp and desired temp variables. Itong on and off is a function, and itong current temp and desired temp is variables or properties. So this new entity, the object, solves several problems simultaneously kasi may ready-made ka na code, gagamitin mo na lang siya. So hindi ibig sabihin na gagamit lang din tayo yung mga created na diretso ng program. Kailangan pwede rin tayong gumawa ng ating sariling object. Okay, that will behave something like. Okay. So not only does programming object correspond more accurately to objects in the real world, but it also solves the problem engendered by global data in the procedural model. So yun yung example niya. So this particular na explanation is ano siya, parang naka-series na. So the furnace on and the furnace off functions can access the current temp and desired temp. However, these variables are hidden from functions that are not part of the thermostat. So they are less likely to be accidentally changed by a rogue function. Kasi itong current temp at desired temp is nakaset siya as yung sa ating encapsulation, nakaset as private. So kung private siya, meaning you cannot directly type the current temp, the thermostat class. So kailangan dumaan ka muna sa furnace on and off, in which meron siya mga certain algorithm to process all of these variables. So another example is itong person class. I know na nakatry na kayo nito.
So example, this is how we model characters, no, when we create games using programming language. Sila naman ng mga laro ngayon, ginawa yan before sa programming language. So, assuming we have the attributes here, may name, age, gender, and occupation. So ito yung mga attributes or so-called variables. At yung mga functionality niya is merong walk, eat, sleep, and work. So that's how we do it, no, in an objects in a nutshell. So another example, ito. So another term ito. So if gagawa ka ng class na person, so you have the data members, unique ID, name, age, city, and gender. Tapos meron siya mga methods or functions, eat, sleeps, study, and play. So think of it if nakalaro ka ng Sims. So that's how they model the characters. Tataruin ka paano move yung mga characters in Sims na game. So ganyan siya kinode sa Java if Java yung ginamit na language. Okay, but usually yung ginagamit na language for uh, yung mga games ngayon is yung sa C sharp and tapos yung mga engines hindi 3D for animations. Okay. So yan. So example, meron kang class na person, you are going to create as an object, meron siyang person 1. So name is John, 35, city, Delhi, gender, male. And another person class, you're reusing the person class pero like iba na naman yung content niya. For Desi, age 20, the city is Pune, and then the gender is female. So that's the purpose of an object. You can recycle the same class, but with different content per class. Okay. So a class is a specification, a blueprint for one or more objects. So creating an object is also called instantiating it, and an object is often referred to as an instance of a class. So, di ba? Yan naman talaga yung logic. Pag meron kayong class, and you want to use that one as an object, you are going to instantiate it. If you remember in your OOP, di ba? Gawa kayo ng example. Meron kayong class na car. So, paano mo siya gawin ng object? So, pwede kang gumamit ng the same class car, pero ibebe siya yung object na sabihin Volvo, merong Toyota, Nissan, na using the car class. Pero naging object siya with different names. Or example, gamit ka ng fruits. You have the class fruit. So, you're gonna instantiate it as an object mango as a fruit, or mango or guava or apple and so on. So, they're using the same class pero iba-iba yung mga properties niya. And of course, one of the mandate when you create an object is to use the constructor. And this is a special member function that is called automatically whenever a new object is created. So majority of our classes kailangan meron siyang constructor. And of course, the constructor always has the same name as the class. Okay? So the constructor has one argument or pwede siya depende, which is used to set the opening balance when the account is created. So example, this is referring to yung sa ATM. And a constructor allows a new object to be initialized in a convenient way. So example ito, no? Gawa ka ng isang class book. So meron siyang properties or variables, author, title, and price. So gagawa ka ng constructor, ito yung constructor ngayon. So I hope na marunong ko yung mag-identify ano yung constructor. Baka basta yung constructor is the same name with the class. Pero meron siyang open and close parentheses. So pwede siya multiple constructor. So example, itong first na constructor is wala siyang argument. So kung tatawagin mo ito, wala siya isa-set. But you can initialize ito as an object. Yung another is itong book. Ano siyang tatlong arguments, string A, P, double P, which is trying to replace the value of the properties author, title, and price. So you gagamit sila ng this, no, to indicate that you are referring to the same properties of that class. Kasi kung walang this, ibig sabihin, you're referring to the class from the argument. Kasi careful din tayo. But I think it's already been explained sa OP. But sa PHP, I think iba yung pag-declare ng constructor. So, iba siya. But sa Java, should be na the same siya ng name ng class. Okay? Then, next is the public and private keywords. These are the access modifiers and determine what members of object can be accessed by other parts of the program. So, di ba, na-remember ninyo, if we set the member as private, then ibig sabihin, it cannot be accessed when you instantiate the class as an object. Kailangan mo siyang idaan muna sa function. Okay, so that's how we implement security for this, especially in objects in a nutshell. So member data na class is typically made private whereas functions are made public. So kung hindi mo siya lalagyan ng data type, data member like public or private or access modifier, then ibig sabihin this is a fixed as public. Pag lalagyan mo siya ng private, then this protects the data and it can be accidentally modified by functions in other classes. Kasi example, no, meron kaming class na movement. Example, yung class mo is move. So may move up, move left. So nangyayari, if ginawa mong public yung direction, pwede mo hindi ka na dumaan sa function na move left, move right, or move up. Diretso ka na sa directions. So, lagay mo lang yung value in directions. Direction equals to 250. So magkakaproblema yun. That is the cause of glitch. So it should not happen like that. So kailangan naka-ano siya, naka-private para may proseso siya, may algorithm in which hindi ka pwedeng umaccess yan unless you first go to the functions. Okay? So any outside entity that needs to access the data in a class must do so using a member function of the same class. Okay, so data is like a queen bee which is hidden in the middle of the hive, fed and cared for by the worker bee which is the functions. So yan yung parang equivalent niya. Yung mga na-private na mga variables para siyang queen bee, hindi mo siya makita, pero may nag-feed sa kanila ng mga data na idadaan doon sa functions. Okay? So ito yung mga access level na kailangan rin nating tandaan. Okay? Kasi I think you are already done with this in your OOP, but we need to remember also how do we access this. So for example, kung gagamit ka ng public modifier in a class, of course, you can access that one in your own class. Kung meron kang class na person, you can access the variable if naka-public. You can also access the variables kahit naka-private kasi sa in your own class. But if it is in a package, meaning sa isang folder package, different classes, so you can only access it if it's public. But if it is nakaset as private, you cannot use it. For example, meron kang class na main, tapos you're trying to access the class person, if nakaset siya as private, you cannot access it. Okay, kasi kahit na same package siya. If you are going to use the subclass, meaning inside of your class main, gumawa ka ng another class person. So sa loob ng class is may another class, like nested class. So you can still access the public if it is set as yes, but if naka-set as private, hindi mo rin siya ma-access kahit na ano siya, kahit na naging subclass ka. Okay? Sa loob pa siya. And if in the world, example, hindi siya sa isang package but you specify yung path niya sa project mo, gawa ka ng folder dyan, sinirely mo with your full name, so you can access ang public pa rin but the private is no. So ibig sabihin, you can only access the private inside of the class alone. So kaya nga napaka-secure if you're gonna use private. So again, the reason why you're gonna gamit itong private na modifier to ensure na it should not be modified or yung mga properties niya will not be overridden or hindi siya ma-override. Example yung ginawa ko sa inyo kanina. Example, yung class or example yung items, no? May class ka na item, so limit lang yung slot niya with 6 slots. So if you want to add slot, so you're gonna use the add slot function. So mag-add siya ng another item in the first slot. So tawagin mo ulit yung add slot, the second function, and third slot for the third function. Then if malilimit siya with 6, mag-error siya. But if you will not set the variable as private, naka-public siya, pwede may shortcut agad na yung items or slot is equals to 7. So ma-override siya. So magkakaproblema ka ngayon in terms of logic kasi hindi nakaset siya as public. So ito yung mga target ng mga hackers ngayon when they try to create glitches in your classes. So another one is the inheritance. So this is the creation of one class in which we derive the class from the parent or from the base class. So na-try na natin to before, di ba? In your OOP in which meron siyang you're gonna inherit all of the feature of the base class plus
additional features. So inheritance make it easy to add features to an existing class and is an important aid in the design of programs with many related classes. So for example, meron in our company, if ako na-assign kami sa movement ng character, yung isa is na-assign siya sa for the items, yung isa naman is na-assign siya for the design of the character, yung isa naman is, so iba-iba siya ng mga ano. So if we are going to migrate now all of our classes into one, we are going to use inheritance para magka-connect-connect na ngayon yung aming mga classes. Okay? So example ito, no? So meron kang class A. So if you have class B extends A, meaning lahat ng mga properties na class A is makukuha ni B. Si class C extends A, makukuha lahat ni C yung mga properties ni A. But si D naman extends C is makukuha rin niya yung mga properties ni C. So that's how it works with inheritance. Okay, so gagamit ka lang ng word na extends. So another one is the polymorphism. So it involves treating objects of different classes in the same way. So for polymorphism to work, these different classes must be derived or inherited from the base class. So how do we apply that? So this involves function call that executes the different member functions for objects of different classes. So it simplifies and clarifies program design or coding. So yung nangyari itong polymorphism is para siyang inheritance, but you can modify the value or you can override the function of that particular method. So example, meron kang class na animal, meron siyang method na make sound. So if you apply polymorphism, then you can use the make sound, the dog, the class, but iba yung function or try to imagine iba yung parang sound ng dog. And you're gonna also the cat, class cat, you still use the make sound of the animal, but iba yung kanyang output. Kasi iba naman yung sound ng cat. Parang ganyan, no? Recycle mo siya yung function, but iba yung function ng method na ginamit mo. Unlike with typical inheritance, whatever you call the function, you're going to follow, no, whatever is the content of that function. Okay, so yun yung kaibahan niya pang inheritance. So ibig sabihin yung polymorphism, itong class na animal na make sound, wala itong algorithm sa loob ng function. Parang blanco lang siya. Para lang sa template. So think of this polymorphism as templating. Okay, i-inherit mo lahat ng mga functions, mga properties, pero wala mo ng value. Kasi ikaw na yung magsaset. Okay. So example yan, no? So shape na class, meron kang area na function, but it's the polymorphism. So pwede mong tawagin ulit yung area in a circle, pero ikaw yung magbigay ng iyong sariling property. So you think of the polymorphism as parang talaga siyang lang, parang blueprint na ikaw pa rin yung user pa rin yung gagamit. Para guided lang sila ano yung mga kailangan ng mga methods na i-apply. So we have the triangle, iba rin yung ng area ng triangle, diba? And formula for the rectangle. Okay, so yan ginagamit yung polymorphism. So example, another one yung sa example ko kanina. So if example, may isang character na inherit ko yung class na movement. So same sila na movement, move up, move down, move left, or move right. But if I'm gonna use polymorphism, pwede ko i-change ngayon kung gaano yung kabilis yung pag-move niya. So example, pag move left ko dapat one step at a time. So what if may item ka na bago? So naka-item ka ng mga boots of travel or yung mga ganyan, ma-add move speed. So pag polymorphism ko ngayon sa move na class, pag move left ko mas tatlong steps instead of one step only because of the item. So imagine, same siya ng function, mag-move siya pero iba yung kanyang speed. So and we can apply that by using polymorphism. So soon, no, i-master natin ito. Though this is already done in your OOP. Kasi this is a requirement, the initial requirement for you to handle data structures. Okay. Next is the software engineering. So software engineering is the study of how to create large and complex computer programs involving many programmers. So it focuses on the overall design of the program and on the derivation of that design beginning with the needs of the end users. So ito na ngayon yung logic natin when we create now an exact computer program via software engineering.
So in software engineering, they are concerned with the life cycle of a software project, which includes specifications. Hindi siya diretso lang yung ginagawa natin na magawa ka lang ng program. And if it works, then it's good. So meron siyang pina-follow na process. So you can relate this one soon in your capstone project or even yung sa subject niyo sa SAD or System Analysis and Design. Meron siyang specification, check mo na yung mga kailangan. Magawa ka ng design template. So you verify it, kung ano yung mga process. Then i-code mo na, tapos i-test mo pa siya. They're efficient in production and maintenance, no, for soon data. So ganyan yung actually yung future work natin. Hindi siya about just creating a program. Maraming tayo i-consider. But it doesn't mean that kayong lahat yung gagawa niyan. No? Separate yan ng mga trabaho. Kaya nga, in your caption project, you will be grouped into 3 or 4. Kasi iba-iba yung mga trabaho ninyo. Iba-iba kina-assign task. Okay? So yan, no? So this will be your assignment. So this is already posted in LMS. So based on our discussion, you follow the assignment. So imagine a group of data you would like to put in computer, so it could be accessed and manipulated. So if, for example, if you collect old comic books, you might want to catalog them so you could search for a particular author or a specific date. So design your own group of data and how this data can be manipulated. So gagawa kayo ng step-by-step process on this particular assignment. So assuming meron sa inyong computer, nag-save kayo sa local disk D, yung mga pictures or mga old comic books. Tapos naka-save ba siya? Paano ba siya naka-save? Is it by ABCD ba, or naka-save ba siya by date, or naka-save ba siya by categories? So gawa kayo ng algorithm when the user will retrieve the data. Paano siya? What will be the step-by-step process? So tingnan natin, are we gonna weigh you on how detailed you try to explain your algorithm. So naka by word lang siya. Naka-bullet. So i-numbers nyo lang, step 1, step 2, ganyan. And let us see if you really understand how algorithm works. Okay? So that concludes our session. So make sure you answer this task before the deadline. And see you in our next meeting. God bless you and goodbye.